Hey guys, this is going to be the first of 4 videos in which I'm going to explain every tricky 4-move layer on Scube where one corner is correctly placed. In this video, I will show the tricky 4 movers where the corner that goes in DFR is in FDR, so the sticker is here. I don't think I will explain mirrors in this series. For some cases I might, because the finger trick work out better in for one mirror than for another, or I might actually choose different solutions. And the way I pick which cases are tricky is by polling. So on the Scubers Facebook group, I posted 12 scrambles, which correspond to the 12 cases, the 12 4 movers with one corner in FDR. And I asked people to vote for which scrambles they were able to get the 4-move layer. And so these 3 are the cases that scored the worst. And this is another case that I personally think should be added to a series like this. It actually scored quite high. I think it got like 28 or 29 of the 30 people that were able to correctly get the 4-mover, but I think this is particularly hard for beginners, whereas every other case, all the other 8 cases, can be solved by either inserting one corner in one move and then doing an obvious 3-mover, or by inserting one corner in 2 moves and doing an obvious 3-mover. I will leave the scrambles in the description if you want to try them. So yeah, let's get started. So this case, only 20 out of the 30 people were able to correctly solve this layer in 4 moves, or at least on first try or immediately. I was quite vague in the poll, so this episode is kind of experimental, honestly. But yeah, let's go to a layer. So we have kind of a headlights here, and these also match, and this corner can be inserted in one move, but if you do, you get this case. And I kind of predicted that this was going to be the worst scoring case. This case is a 5-mover, so in total this would be a 6-move solution, but obviously there's a 4-mover. So how do you solve this in 4 moves? The first move is very tricky. This is the first move. So you see, it literally doesn't solve any corner. It puts 2 corners in a position that usually is kind of ugly. You usually don't want to have corners oriented corners on the top. But here, that's the first thing you do. But the reason is that it leads to a 3-mover by inserting this corner and then these 2. So again, put these 2 up like this, and then these 2, and these 3 like that. I will briefly touch on one looking. The one looking for these cases isn't particularly complicated. If you know a thing or 2 about one looking, I guess. So for corners, this corner goes here and then here again, so it's untouched. This corner is only touched by the last 2 moves. I'm going to assume that you know how to one look 2 movers. Like that you know the pattern, actually, because for some of these, it's actually quite useful to know the pattern. But yeah, as far as the centers are concerned, basically the first 2 moves, like you can trace the first 2 moves or like see that it's a vertical U-turn like that. And on top of that, you're doing a vertical U-turn like that. So you have pattern to trace, I guess, for the centers, which in this case isn't particularly bad. Yeah. So this is what was deemed as the second hardest case, I guess, with only 22 out of the 30 people correctly solving this layer in 4 moves. And yeah, this is so this has like opposite headlights, so kind of similar to the previous case, but this time they're opposite colors here. And you have 2 corners that can be inserted correctly in 1 move. So this one can be inserted like this, and it leads to a total of 5-move solutions, including the 1 move to insert. And as well, if you do this, you get 5 moves. So there's 2 kind of obvious 5-movers. The 4-mover is basically you solve these 2 corners first, ignoring the existence of this one. So pretend this is solved, you would do these 3 moves, and then this magically becomes a 1-mover on the back. So again, insert these 2, and particularly flow as well. So as far as one looking is concerned, you see these two corners. These two corners don't get affected by the first three moves, so it's really easy to one look the corners. As far as the centers are concerned, yeah. So basically here you want to know the pattern for the three mover here, because if you do, then you literally have to trace pattern into move, which is kind of weird. That's a thing that I do sometimes with some layers. So usually one traces move to patterns, and tracing pattern to move is a bit rarer. Here it kind of works out because the first three moves are literally a pattern. So yeah, you trace like a horizontal U-perm into one move. All of these cases, by the way, don't leave a single center solved. So yeah, that's why I don't really have patterns ready for these, but you can kind of trace them intuitively. Okay, this case, I think 24 out of 30 people were able to see this layer. And so we have this corner here, and these two like that. But if you insert this corner here, you get into a 6-move layer, which is not particularly great. The way you solve this in 4 is by solving these two corners. Remember, this corner goes here, not here. So you solve these two corners, and then this magically becomes a one mover. So we do that and that. And to one loop that, again, these two corners are only affected by the last move. You have to remember that it's not like this, but like this. Because right now it looks like the corner is here, but of course it moves after the first three moves. And then again, you do pattern to pattern for the pattern to one move for the centers. Like these centers are affected by here to here to here by the first three moves, and then last move. Yeah. And here is a case which I believe is tricky for beginners. I don't think, like, I don't know why it scores so high. It's like the fourth highest scoring case was 27 out of 30, but it wasn't this one. This one can be tricky for beginners. The only corner that you can insert one move is like that. And I feel like beginners are going to insert this corner here and then twist this one. But you can start solving this one by pulling it up. And now it's kind of obvious. You solve this, and then these two. I guess I'm going to briefly touch on one looking, even though like this is purely a case that I think is for beginners. But like, for one looking, it's not particularly difficult. This corner doesn't move because it goes here, and then it comes back here, and this corner just gets affected by the last move. And then here I do two moves into pattern. I guess I could do pattern to pattern, but this is a pseudo Z-perm. So the first two moves are pseudo Z-perm on the centers, which is kind of harder to remember exactly which way it goes. So that's why I actually trace the first two moves, but then I do the pattern because it's just a U-perm. Yeah.